Hello, I'm Dan Toffee and welcome back to another brand new Fortnite video. Yesterday we got a brand new dev update from the developers over at Epic Games. Basically, in these dev updates, what they do is they talk about what they're doing at the moment, what they're working on for the future of the game, and what they think about the past updates. In this update though, all they talked about was future things that we're going to be getting in update 5.4, so we do see quite a few things that we'll be getting in the future updates, and today I just want to tell you about everything that they mentioned in the video, everything new that will be coming that's been confirmed, because we could be seeing some quite big changes to the game pretty soon. So getting straight into it, starting off with Storm Destruction. In version 5.4, the Storm will now destroy player-built structures in the final stages of the game. This means that you can't build into the next zone, so if you are building a ramp into the next zone, once the storm then hits that ramp that you started building, it will destroy it, and if you're stood on it, you will end up falling to the ground. So what this does do is it counters sky bases, even though they're not very common anymore, because they aren't really a good tactic. It does mean they can't be used anymore in the final stages, and it also forces more gunfights, so we've seen them talk about it before, that they don't like people using building to just avoid fighting, so they're going to make sure that you can't build into the next circle by destroying everything that you've built outside of the next circle. They say that this will affect less than 10% of all the matches that are actually played, just because of how many times it actually gets to the final circle, but this will mean that in the final stages you'll always be fighting players, because players can't just be constantly building to avoid getting shot at. Definitely to think about it a little bit more tactically, you need to get into the zone and then build. You can't build your way in always protecting yourself, so I think it will definitely make those final stages a lot better, because they won't last quite as long because players can't just build and constantly avoid getting shot. Next, the Revolver is being vaulted. We have seen quite a few weapons in the past being vaulted. Obviously vaulted doesn't mean completely removed, they are being completely removed from the game at the moment, but they could be coming back in the future at some point. So in version 5.4, the Revolver will be getting removed, and they say this is to keep the weapon pool feeling fresh and dynamic, and I definitely think it is a good idea. We have got loads of pistols in the game at the moment. We have the Revolver, we've got the Deagle, we've got the dual pistols and the silence pistols, so we definitely do want a pistol getting removed, because having 4 pistols in the game is too many when players tend to not use them that much. Especially when you've got the Deagle, you're not really going to want to use a Revolver over the Deagle just because of how good the Deagle is. So I do see that it's a good reason to take this weapon out of the game, and players tend to not use them because there are loads of guns in the game at the moment, and when they are adding more in all the time, eventually there will be too many weapons in the game, so as they add weapons in, we definitely need to see them getting vaulted. Maybe they might return in the future at some point, but to be honest, I won't be too bothered if the Revolver never comes back, because there are better weapons and more interesting weapons in the game that fills that role now. Next, a new mobility item has been confirmed. They didn't actually say exactly what this will be. They didn't give a specific name for it or what it will do, but what they did say was they can't wait to see creative expression with this new item. So what this does suggest is there is some sort of an item, something that you can build with like a bounce pad or a launch pad to help you move around the map, instead of it being something like an ATK, a Rift, or a Rift to go, because obviously you can't be very creative with those items, but you can be fairly creative with the bounce pads, so I think this is going to be something completely different we haven't seen before, and there'll be loads of different ways to use it in the game. After that, they talked about some balancing things. The first thing that they talked about was remote explosives. Obviously they are incredibly powerful in the game, and at the moment they are only a rare item, but in version 5.4 we'll be increasing this up to epic, so it does match how powerful they are. Obviously this means that they won't be dropping as often as they do at the moment, so they will be quite a bit harder to find in the game. So what I'd like to see is when they do make this change, that we see the stack size go back up to 4 than what it is at the moment, which is 3. They changed this pretty recently just because of how powerful they are, but seeing as they're increasing the rarity of them and we can't find them as often, I think it should go back to being a stack size of 4, but they actually confirmed some stack size change that will be coming in the version 5.4 update. So Boogie bombs will now be spawning with a stack size of 2. Obviously this is so that people start using them a bit more in game. They definitely can be quite useful in the game, but they're not something that you generally would carry over a weapon or heals or shields, just because they aren't as useful in every situation, due to be pretty close to a player, just because it doesn't last for that long. But now that they spawn in stacks of 2, we might see players using them a little bit more. I still won't be carrying them, I'll still be using my slots to carry other weapons instead, but some players who like using them might choose to carry them more than they are now. And the final and possibly biggest update that's confirmed to be coming with version 5.4 is that they are changing the maximum stack size of 50 shields from 2 to 3. So now instead of only being able to carry 2 50 shields, you'll now be able to carry 3 50 shields. This is quite a big deal because it does mean that you can now give yourself 150 shield instead of just 100, so it definitely makes them a lot more worth carrying. Obviously you can still stack minis all the way up to 10, so minis are very valuable, and because you can put them on so quickly they're great for the end of the games. But towards the start and middle of the games, if you do find loads of 50 shields, they're now worth carrying a little bit more just because you can stack one extra one. But I do think that minis still will be the main shield that players are carrying, just because of how many you can stack, how easy they are to find, and how quickly you can put them on, so they're definitely worth carrying towards the end of the game and in the middle of the game when you can find loads of players that you're killing. But they are all the future updates for version 5.4 confirmed in the dev update which came out yesterday. Let me know what you think about all of these future changes in the comments down below. By the sounds of it, it sounds like version 5.4 will be a really good update. I definitely like how they're changing the 50 shields. This is definitely a good change because 50 shields at the moment are a bit pointless carrying. It's kind of something you use them if you need them. If not, you don't bother carrying them because minis are more powerful and easier to carry just because you can have so many and use them so quickly. But let me know what you think about everything, including those new mobility items, and especially what you think it could be off the clues that they've given us. If you're new here, make sure you are subscribing to see more of these update videos whenever they come out, as well as all my weekly challenge guides, tips and tutorials. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you leave it a like. On screen now are links through to 2 playlists. One of them is my full weekly challenge guides playlist, the other one is my full bonus star location playlists. So make sure you check in them out if you need help completing any of those challenges. Well, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.